after the primary day. To those who celebrate, welcome to the CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker. I'm Jason DeRusha. We used to call this thing the 734, but now we call it the Daybreaker. We're glad you're here for it. We'll get you up to date on all the election news in just a minute, but let's tell you what's going on with the weather right now. And it's one of those days, right? I never know what to make of a forecast like this. I don't know how meteorologist Riley O'Connor does it, because you see all those storm chances, but it's so spotty. So like everybody wants the weather guy to say like, okay, it's going to rain at 2:30. But really what he's saying here is he doesn't know. No idea. It's going to rain. There's going to be some rain, maybe, or maybe not. Mostly west, he says. So we'll see. Just be ready for it. It's one of those days, right? About 80 today. Not as warm as yesterday. Got a couple of days of weather like this before we get a really nice weekend in front of us. Let's talk about this. Big news all around the country. Well, first of all, like, why did Joe Biden announce this on a primary election day throughout? You know, a lot of the country was voting yesterday. Thought that was a little weird. But he did announce what many people thought was going to be the pick. California Senator Kamala Harris will be his vice presidential candidate. They are scheduled to make their first appearance together today in Delaware. I don't know. President Trump said he was surprised by this, which has to absolutely just be a straight up troll, right? I mean, who is surprised by this? No one. Still very significant. Kamala Harris, the first black and Asian American woman on a major party's presidential ticket. So we want to know what you think about this choice. If you're a Democrat, does this excite you? Does this motivate you maybe even more to come out and vote, the historic nature of this vice presidential candidate? If you're a Republican, does it motivate you to come out and vote? So much attention being paid to this pick, partially because of Joe Biden's age. Many people speculating that if he were to win, he would not run again, which would certainly open a path for his sitting vice president towards the presidency. So we'll see. I just want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments on Facebook. We will share through some of those comments in just a moment. Most of the primary election results are in this morning. And no major surprises. Pretty much all the candidates who were endorsed by their party, they all won. Ilhan Omar, the sitting U.S. House representative in the 5th District, wins. A primary challenge, a lot of money raised and spent by Antone Melton-Mukes, a political newcomer who did pretty well for being an unknown, right? 39% of the vote, but this was not as close as the TV ads might have made you think it was going to be. Ilhan Omar winning 18% of the vote with 100% reporting, which still does mean there are some mail-in votes that are going to be counted, so these percentages may change. This was the race to watch last night. Both candidates spent a lot of money on advertising. The district is heavily Democratic, so the primary victory means Omar nearly certain to keep her House seat. She stood in front of the Dinkytown Target, which has become a tradition. She said she spent the last hour of election day there for the past 3 elections, and she says to understand why she does that, you have to understand her audience.
I'm an optimist at heart, and young people are the most optimistic of voters, and so I like absorbing their energy and being here and being excited.
She connected with voters virtually during the pandemic, doing these get out the vote calls. Standing alongside her was her husband and well-known progressive consultant Tim Minot, sort of her new husband. That relationship and the fact that her campaign paid his firm $1 million. It's been the subject of a lot of criticism. The fact that she did get divorced during her first term in office, had denied that she was in a relationship with someone else, and then a couple months later, these two get married. But anyway, she does win. Another race we're watching, 7th District. The Republican-endorsed candidate, former Lieutenant Governor Michelle Fischbach, advances. She will try to unseat Democrat Collin Peterson. President Trump won this district in 2016 and has endorsed Fischbach. Only about 30 to 40,000 votes on each side in that primary. Voter turnout in the competitive races, it was very high, and as of last night, the state had accepted about 500,000 early ballots, mail-in, absentee ballots. This year's mail-in total surpasses the total number of people who voted in 2016. So the ability to vote early, the ability to do it by mail, that is driving turnout. And then you have people who voted in person to be added to that. We know that the vote totals will change, but experts at the AP who kind of made the calls say not enough outstanding votes out there to change the outcome of the races that have been called. Fans are going to have to wait to cheer on the Golden Gophers. Big Ten Conference said, nope, we're going to postpone the fall sports season. We've been reporting that this is coming for the past several days. Football, cross country, volleyball, all impacted. Soccer, too, at the U. University President Joan Gable said just too much uncertainty surrounding COVID-19 and fall sports. This Friday, the NCAA will announce what it is going to do about eligibility for the athletes who don't get to compete this fall. Do they get more time? How does that work? We shall see. Investigators say that huge fire in the heart of downtown St. Paul was set on purpose. You kind of wondered about that, right? This is an under construction building. It happened last Thursday just across the street from the XL Energy Center. $68 million hotel and apartment building that was still in its wood frame form being built. And that thing went up it was torched, which made you think, okay, there's no electrical here. What could have sparked it if it wasn't intentional? ATF saying it was. Federal investigators still working to find out what and who started that fire. This past Sunday's hailstorm, did it mess with your plants or your garden? Well, it's wreaking havoc on a key ingredient to some local hot sauces.
And a lot of those fields, every single one of those fruits has a hole in it. So there's just nothing more to it. Your crop is basically gone unless you can salvage some of them for a processing market right away.
Yeah, so the clock is ticking. Sojin Farms, they have these huge pepper fields who took a real hard hit from Sunday night's hailstorm. Those are habaneros. They estimate they lost up to 40% of their crop, all with those holes in it. And so, as you know, if you ever grow any kind of vegetable, the clock is for sure ticking. They can salvage some of them. They're out there pulling the battered peppers out, but they got to be preserved quickly or turned into hot sauce. Crybaby Craig's was going to use the large crop. Now they plan on using what can be salvaged to make a limited edition hot sauce, and the proceeds will go to the Sojin Farms staff. So that is pretty cool. We're glad to hear that. State Fair tradition lives on tonight despite the fair being canceled this year. Oh, what a dream. You grew up on a dairy farm or close to the dairy business. It's your year, your chance to be Princess Kay of the Milky Way, and there's no state fair. Amy Kylo got to be Princess Kay last year. She will crown her successor tonight. Ceremony will be live streamed on the Princess Kay Facebook page just around 7:45. And then, yes, the new princess will have her likeness carved in butter. That's going to happen tomorrow. That'll be live streamed as well. All right, hot politics talk. That's what we're doing here on the Daybreaker. Our friend, our digital expert, Eric, is with us. Eric, what are people saying about Kamala Harris? Do they have
hot takes?
Fever? I don't know.
Kamala?
Yeah, we had a couple of newspaper headlines this morning that had little plays on her name.
Well, a guy still reminded me that there was crop art at the State Fair last year, and it was Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, yes. Yes, her
Very
stepkids
nice.
call her the Mamala, which I think is fun.
Very nice. Actually, pretty overwhelmingly positive. Most people seem to think that he made the right choice, and some people I've seen pundits saying he made really the only choice.
Well, what else? I guess Susan Rice was an option, but she doesn't have any campaigning experience.
Right.
She's never campaigned.
Right. Danielle says as long as he thinks she can do a great job, that's all that matters.
Oh, that's
True.
so trusting.
It's very true.
That is true. That is all that matters.
Nicole says, so great to see you every day.
Oh.
Wanted to get that in there. But
Well,
also
thank
said,
you.
Kamala is now our choice. We need to be unified. She's wonderful. Enough said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, I was a political science major in college, and vice presidential candidates usually mean nothing. So you have a couple of days of media coverage, and no one votes based on the vice president. But it might be different in this race because, Joe Biden's no young man. And so the odds that he serves 2 terms slim. So maybe
And I think he's
people
even maybe said as much, right?
Yeah, I think he's realistic.
Lindsay says, I couldn't be happier about Kamala. She's a strong woman, and it's about time we put a woman in the White House.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, seeing what Sarah Palin had to say last night. And Sarah Palin posted a picture of her and Geraldine Ferraro kind of just nodding to the fact that this is such an exclusive club. And we've never no woman has ever been president or vice president, which is a little crazy, isn't it?
And Cynthia and Chad both said Trump 2020.
There you go. Yeah. I do think, like, this is the thing about a pick like this. Will Kamala Harris motivate Democrats to come out to vote? Probably. She might motivate some Republicans to come out and vote too if people don't like her. So we'll see how it all plays out. Well, thanks for weighing in. We appreciate it. And thanks for spending some time with us. That is the Daybreaker from CBSN Minnesota, your only local streaming news source. Why would anybody even bother, right? This thing is so good. If you're one of the other TV stations in town, just fold up the tent and don't even try it. We'll see you tomorrow.